Hi again everyone, and welcome to my second Flosstube. Thank you so much for the lovely welcome last time. It really was so lovely, and yeah, it's just great to meet you all. And thank you for watching and for coming back. I particularly wanted to mention Shelby of Stitches by Shelby, who was one of my main inspirations for coming on Flosstube, as I watched her quite a bit last year while she was doing a couple of my patterns, and I also asked her for tips before I started on how to do it, so that was really helpful of her. And also Deborah of Kensington Cross Stitch, who I started watching just before starting mine, and so she was another inspiration, and she also gave me a really lovely comment on her last video, which was really nice. So I will link to both of those in the description. So first up, the second release of the Wonders of the Hubble Space Telescope has come out. I'll shuffle to the side so you can see it more. And that's, yeah, it's always really exciting when the first surprise release comes out, because obviously the first section was already known. People already knew what it was going to be, and so this is the first surprise section. So I'm really looking forward to seeing everybody's progress with that. So this section is a barred spiral galaxy. So although it kind of looks a bit similar to the last one in that they're both kind of blobby, it's very different, because last time's section was a planetary nebula, which, as we were saying, has nothing to do with planets and is expanding gas and dust from a dying star. This time it's an entire galaxy, so it's made up of billions and billions of stars, just like we live in a galaxy called the Milky Way. This is a galaxy snappily called NGC 6217. You may recognise the NGC title from last time's planetary nebula, which was called NGC 2818. So the NGC catalogue is one of the catalogues of things in the sky that aren't stars, aren't individual stars. NGC stands for New General Catalogue, so it comes up quite a bit. So yeah, NGC 6217 is a barred spiral galaxy. It's about a third of the diameter of the Milky Way, so it's not as big as our galaxy, and it's about 67.2 million light years away, which is a very long way away, obviously, and so it means that the light that we see in the galaxy has taken 67.2 million years to reach us. So if it had been eaten by giant alien spaceships since then, we wouldn't know about it for another 62.7 million years. Well, if it was eaten today. So you do literally look back in time when you're looking into space, which is pretty amazing, I always think. So yeah, I hope that that everybody enjoys stitching there, and really looking forward to seeing your progress. And it will be another month until the next section is released, and then we'll do another update on that then. On further space news, I mentioned last time that I hadn't seen the comet, and then about the next night I managed to see it. I was very excited. I got the managed to get the telescope out. It was nearly dead up, which was a complete neck breaker, but it was that night the comet was in the Kids, which is an asterism in Auriga, and it was just such a obvious marker of where to find it, whereas when it was in Camelopardalis I was like, I'm going to have nothing to go on, and it was clear, and I was just like, I've got to try and find it, and then I managed to find it. It was very faint, probably because of the light pollution, and because I'd looked the night before with binoculars and hadn't found it, and I was like, well, there's no wonder, actually, considering how faint it was when I did find it. But yeah, I was just really chuffed. I was like, yes. So second comet in the bag, and that was only my second time using my telescope, so hoping to get the third time in soon. Plus we have, after sunset, there is Venus and Jupiter quite close together now in the sky, and they look stunning. This is visible from everywhere in the world. If you can see the sunset, then you can see Venus and Jupiter after it. They'll appear, Venus appears fairly soon. You start to see it after sunset. Obviously, as it gets darker, it shows more. Last night it was a really beautiful view. I'm recording this on Thursday, so it's ready to go out when the stitchalongs come out. So last night the crescent moon was in the middle of between Venus at the bottom and Jupiter higher up, slightly higher up, with the crescent moon in the middle. The moon will have moved by the time you watch this, but you still got this beautiful sight of Venus and Jupiter above it. Venus is heading towards Jupiter. It's going to overtake it in early March, so then Venus will be the higher planet of the two, and then Venus is carrying on, getting more distant from the sun all the way up to June, I believe. So it's going to be a beautiful feature of our evening skies throughout the first half of the year. I just love Venus. It's a stunning sight. It's so bright. It's like, okay, are you kidding me? Who whacked that massive, great, bright beacon in the sky level of bright? And it just, yeah, and with Jupiter there as well, which is less bright, although it's also higher in the sky, and the lower sky is brighter from the sunset, so from the remnants of the sort of sunset area, so that can make Jupiter look relatively slightly brighter in comparison than it really is. So yeah, I hate to say you can't miss it, but you can't really. It does look great, and I've taught several friends, I think, this year to spot Venus and Jupiter, which is really nice because so many people don't know that they're there, and they are just there when they're there. They're not visible all year round, but when they are really obvious once you know. And people are like, oh, I didn't realise that was that thing. And so yeah, and wherever you are in the world, have a look early evening. If it's cloudy, if it's not cloudy, if it's cloudy, then you will be able to miss it, definitely. Last night we just got quite a brief glimpse, and then the clouds all came over, and it's like, okay, that was the end of that. But yeah, keep looking out for that, because it's just lovely, and Venus is just like this glowing friend in the sky, which is really nice. Venus is the second planet from the sun. We're the third. It's really similar size to us, but it's like the sort of nightmare version of us, because they've had this crazy runaway greenhouse effect, so it's blanketed with clouds of carbon dioxide, and like it sort of rains sulfur dioxide, I think, and it's sort of generally, I was going to say hell on Earth, but it's hell on Venus, obviously. So it's very reflective because it's covered in solid cloud, and it's also nearer the sun than we are, so that's why it's so bright in the sky. The Venus is also always in the west after sunset, or in the east before sunrise, because it's nearer the sun than we are. We're never going to see it in the sky in the opposite direction to the sun like we can with something like Jupiter. At the moment Jupiter's in the west, but another time it could be in the east, away from the sun, whereas Venus and Mercury are always going to be near to the sun. So that's end of space news. So in other news, I have been working hard on the dragon stitch along for next year, and that is coming together. The design is hopefully finally finished, what feels like about the 50th final finish, because I revise it and revise it and revise it, and I have been exporting it, which means constructing the actual patterns from the design, which is hopefully done. I'm now constructing all the files in Adobe InDesign, all the pattern sections for each month, and I've ordered the threads, which have arrived. That was very quick, and I'm hopefully having a hand-dyed fabric especially for the stitch along that somebody is going to do for it, which is exciting. Not had that before, not specially done for it one. So yeah, that's still a work in progress, so hopefully that'll come together soon, and then my model stitcher can start stitching it. And then I'm also working on wonders of the James Webb Space Telescope for next year as well. That's in much earlier stages. So yeah, that has been keeping me very busy. And in new patterns, I have a couple of new patterns. First up is what I call Dog Quixote, which is this dog with a pile of books with dog puns. So we have Dog Quixote, The Bark is Rising, A Suitable Dog, Dogginson Crusoe, and 1984. And thank you to my friend Anna for coming up with a couple of those. We had a fun brainstorming session. Yeah, that was a good laugh. So that was fun, and that was a sort of companion piece to Cat Napped that I'd already done with the cat sleeping on the pile of books. And that one has got of mice and cats and Cat Napped, and the great Catsby Persuasion, which my friend Danny came up with, and the Cat in the Rye. So that was, we had a lot of laughs putting those together. So they're quite fun. And then I also done a new pattern for the upcoming coronation. This is the latest in my Together Bunnies series, so I thought I'd talk about those a bit. So this is the coronation bunnies, which shows the king being crowned with the bishops and the crown jewels. Yeah, I also mention on the subject of royalty, well, on the bunnies, last year I did Jubilee bunnies for the Queen's 70th Jubilee, with the red arrows and the bunnies. So that was fun, and Jubilee weekend was a really fun celebration. And then of course the Queen died less than 3 months later, and I did a free memorial pattern for her that's still available completely free on my website if anybody would like to stitch it. It's had over 300 people have downloaded it already, and so that's been nice that people have been doing that. Yeah, on the subject of royalty, I went to stay with my brother last weekend, and we went to Windsor Castle, and we saw this and this, and also quite a bit of this, and that was really fun. Yeah, it's really great there. It's the second time we went in. We've been recently because you get an annual included ticket, and there's too much for me to see in one day. But it was really nice to catch the changing of the guard, which was really fun. And they're so nice in Windsor Castle. Everybody's nice, and they're amazing. When you're disabled, they look after you. And every time there's some steps or something, somebody in a cloak appears at your arm and ushers you up a lift or round some back alleyway, and they're just really, really nice and helpful, and it just makes it such a nice place to visit. So totally recommend that if you're anywhere nearby. So yeah, I thought since we were talking about bunnies, I thought I could show the rest of my Together Bunnies series. So this was where it started, with the bunnies, with my You and I Are More Than Friends, We're a Really Small Gang pattern, and the bunnies sitting in front of the sunset. So that's been really popular, and I actually have a work in progress to show on this one, which is quite exciting. Here we are. This is work in progress on my More Than Friends Together Bunnies. That is as far as I got before I stopped to start on the snowflakes stitch along model stitching. So it's jammed at this point because I have to work on the snowflakes. So hopefully I'm just over halfway through snowflakes now. So when that's finished, I can maybe get back onto the bunnies. But meanwhile, there they are. They've got the bunnies themselves are complete, and they've got they've got a decent bit of sunset to look at while they wait. And there's 2 more versions of that gang pattern, because I was asked for a family version of it, and then I was asked for one with one baby bunny, and then another one with 2 baby bunnies. So we've got both of those versions as well. So the next Together Bunnies pattern is the Friends Are Like Stars pattern, and I can show you a beautifully stitched version of this because my friend Jenny very kindly made it for me for a birthday present. So here it is, and as you can see, she's done a lovely job. So it's Friends Are Like Stars. You don't always see them, but you know they're always there, and because it combines bunnies with the telescope and space, so it kind of ticks all the boxes for me. And there they are, looking through the telescope together. So that's really nice. I normally have it, you might have seen it last time, hanging up on the wall behind me there. And then the other bunnies that we have is Together is my favourite place to be. I think this was a request, I can't remember, it was a while ago. So that's the bunnies Together, obviously. They were originally named Friendship Bunnies, and then when I got the family patterns in as well, I renamed them Together Bunnies because I thought that sort of covered everything. So the next Together Bunnies design is the Ukraine bunnies. I did this shortly after the invasion of Ukraine, which is a year ago now, unbelievably. And this is a fundraising pattern. Every penny of my profit being all the money that comes in after payment processing, nothing taken off for hosting on the website or anything, goes to the Disasters Emergency Committee Ukraine Humanitarian Appeal. So over £300 has been raised with this pattern so far, which has been really, really lovely to have all your support with that. And it's still for sale, with the money still going to that charity. So if you haven't stitched it yet and you would like to do that in support of the Ukrainians and their bravery, then that's very much still available. And thank you very much for all the support there has been on it. I have a book is a dream you hold in your hands. This was a quote that somebody asked me to do in the group, in the Facebook group. So I've done that one, and that's the little bunny reading, enjoying itself under the tree. And the final one for now is life is a journey best travelled with friends, which is obviously very true. And that's the little bunnies going down in their car. So that is it for my news, I think. I haven't missed anything out. It's yeah, really lovely to see you all again. I can't wait to see everybody's progress in with the Hubble stitch along, with the temperature stitch alongs that are all coming together. Oh yeah, I was going to say, I got very excited. I had a new idea for next year's temperature stitch along, or one of next year's new ones, hopefully. Suddenly it came to me in the evening, and I was like, oh, I have to see if this will work. So I'm on the computer late at night drawing it out, trying to see if it all come together, which I think it will. And I'm quite excited about this idea. I think it's a really, really fun idea, but I'm not going to tell you yet. So I drafted out rough drafts of the first 8 months, just enough to show to myself that this is doable. It's going to need a lot of different versions, but I'll just have to do that because I tend not to make things simple for myself. So hopefully that's going to be something really fun for next year as well. But I've had to leave it for now because I've got to really, really concentrate on pushing forward with the stitch alongs, because the model stitches need a lot of time to be able to stitch them. And then after that, I'll be able to go back to temperature for next year. And meanwhile, this year, the current stitch alongs and temperature, I would love to see your progress. Come and join the Facebook group if you're not there already, and join in all the chats there. And I thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.